So we just got the best Avengers Doomsday leaks ever, and yet the fans are more confused than ever. I think it's partially because there's just been so many leaks and so many rumors, but the irony is we actually have our best look at Avengers Doomsday yet. Like, the picture has never been more clear about what this movie actually will be, and yet again, a lot of people are confused. Like, a lot of people are not realizing that this is actually real. And so, in this video, what I want to do is I want to go over the brand new leaks, and then I'll go over several of the older leaks that frankly never made any sense to me because they literally now make sense. What? So let me TLDR the new leaks. A lot of you know what this is, but let me just say it. The new leak is that the motivation for Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday will be that variant of Doctor Doom lived in a universe where he was married to Sue Storm and he had a child. He had the child, Franklin Richards. And then the incursions happened, destroyed his world, destroyed his wife, and destroyed his child, Franklin Richards. And that sets Doctor Doom on a path to try to restore the multiverse. He wants to bring his family back. And you might be like, okay, Josh, but why do you believe these leaks now as opposed to all the other leaks that you've been yapping about? Well, let me take you through it, okay? Let me explain what's going on. First, I want to talk about an old leak that I was told, and the leak was essentially that the motivation for Doctor Doom was that his family was going to be destroyed by the incursions, so then he would seek out Steve Rogers to try to stop Steve Rogers from causing the incursions that then destroyed his reality and his family. Now look, when I first heard that, I was like, that's stupid as hell.
Boo this man!
Because number one, Doctor Doom doesn't really have a family. Like, in Marvel Comics, he loses his mother at a very early age. He loses his father at a very early age. These are actually things that set him up to become Victor Von Doom. But on top of that, he did have a lover named Valeria. And there is a moment where Victor tries to be with her, but she's ultimately used against him. Like, some organization that's trying to get to Victor uses Valeria to get to him. And that's when Doctor Doom decides, no more. I have to become Doctor Doom. Victor has to go away. The closest thing that I could think of from comics as far as Victor Von Doom's family was Reed Richards' family, because Doctor Doom actually has a very close relationship to the children of Sue and Reed, and in fact has a pretty close relationship to both Reed and Sue. There are parts of the comics where the children of Reed and Sue actually go to live with Doctor Doom in Latveria. Like, this is a thing that happens in the comics, and in fact the child Valeria of Franklin and Sue is actually named by Doctor Doom, and he named her after that lover that we just talked about.
Emotional damage.
So when I was first told these leaks about Doctor Doom's family, I kind of didn't believe them. I was like, that can't possibly be the explanation for why Doom's going out into the multiverse to try to stop incursions. But this new rumor makes that make sense. If he's really from a reality where he was married to Sue Storm and had the child of Franklin Richards, then that absolutely sets Victor up for his core motivation being related to the destruction of his world and the death of his family. But that's not all, because it gets way crazier from here. Let me tell you about this other leak. So a long time ago, I was told that Doctor Doom and Wanda Maximoff would have some kind of a romantic fling relationship in Doomsday. But then I was also told that when we get to Secret Wars, Doctor Doom will be married to Sue Storm and have Franklin as a son. And that never made sense to me, dude. When I heard that, I was like, what are you talking about? This doesn't make any fucking sense. But with the new context of him having married Sue Storm and had Franklin as a son in his original universe, this now makes sense, because it means in the Doomsday movie, Doom does not have his family. Perhaps he's been looking for variants of his son out in the multiverse, which is similar to the path that Wanda Maximoff has been on. I kind of think it's obvious that Wanda going out there and looking for her children is going to be the reason as to why she meets up with Doctor Doom. Like, they're going to both have that in common. And so now I'm thinking, yeah, Doctor Doom probably have something going on with the Scarlet Witch in the Doomsday film. But then when he actually becomes God and remakes reality, yes, he will have his wife back, who was Sue Storm. Okay, but now let's get really crazy. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Let's talk about these rumors with Steve Rogers. Remember when they first came out? And the whole idea was when Steve went back to live with Peggy, he created incursions, and those incursions ended up destroying Victor Von Doom's family, and then Doom became obsessed with stopping Steve Rogers, finding Steve Rogers to prevent the multiverse from being destroyed. And we have seen so many leaks to confirm that this is actually a thing. And in fact, right now, Christian Harloff is reporting that this new Doomsday trailer, which is supposed to drop on December 18th, there's a version of that trailer that's going to have Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers in it, right? I mean, this is like a really badly kept secret at this point, everybody knows that Steve Rogers, with Mjolnir presumably, is going to be a big part of Doomsday. And again, when I first heard these reports, I was like, there's no way. That wouldn't make any sense. Like, again, Doom wouldn't have a family. How could Steve cause the incursions that would cause all of this to happen? That's crazy. However, now I think it could be as simple as when Steve went back to put the stones back, he created a bunch of branch timelines. And in one of those branch timelines, there was a Doctor Doom that was married to Sue Storm. And I do believe that Steve either pruned that reality himself, or by his actions of going back to the timeline and living with Peggy, he created the chaos that then caused the destruction of that reality. But there's another aspect of this that actually heats it up a bit, because there were other reports that Steve Rogers would have children with Peggy Carter in Doomsday. All of a sudden, that's making a lot more sense, because if Doom did actually have a family, if he was married and he had a son that was Franklin Richards, and all of his stuff got destroyed, and yet Steve Rogers makes this sort of selfish choice to have a family with Peggy Carter and have his own children, yeah, that's going to be a big problem for Victor. We also know that the TVA and Loki and the Void is all going to be a big part of this movie. Various different reports and rumors have indicated that. But I'm starting to believe that that actually matches up to another rumor that I heard a long time ago, which was that Doom is going to take Franklin Richards and go into a different universe. That's actually going to be a part of this plot as well. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This could be connected to the Avengers going into the X-Men universe to try to fight against the X-Men, maybe to get Franklin back. But I also think it's possible at one point in the movie, Doom's going to just flip the script on everybody, reveal his actual real plans, and then use Franklin. And then maybe the planet he goes to is actually the Void. Because there's a leak describing Doom and a bunch of Doom bots at the end of the film fighting against a multiversal team of Avengers on the Void, and I think that is actually real. And Doom's gonna literally whoop all their asses, and I just don't know how he does that without godlike power, and I think he's going to get that godlike power from Franklin Richards. And in fact, it might be the case that Franklin Richards is the Molecule Man, and Doom will end up absorbing all of the Franklin Richards, like absorbing his own child to get the power to create a reality where then he has his family again. Like, I don't know. I have some theories about that. I'll make more videos about it. But I'm just saying a lot of this stuff is kind of tracking. A lot of this stuff is making a lot more sense. Now, another crazy leak that's out there, and this is coming from Christian Harloff, is that there will be an incursion at the end of Doomsday between 3 different planets. Now, what I think that means is it will be the 616 universe, it will be the X-Men universe, the one from the end of the Marvels, and then it's likely to be the Fantastic Four universe, the 828 universe, and I would imagine all of those worlds are going to collide. Now, what Christian is saying is that those collided worlds are all going to be destroyed, and then Doom's going to kind of use them to create Battle World. And the thing is, even that makes more sense with this leak here about Sue Storm and Franklin Richards. I think Doom went to 828 because he knows this is like one of the last variants of his son and of his wife left in the entire multiverse. In fact, Doom might have been the one that was absorbing a lot of them. But regardless, the end of the film is going to be a thing where as the incursion is happening, Doom is going to be on the Void fighting against the multiversal Avengers to get to where Loki is at, so that then he has the power to take all of those universes and smash them all together. Now, that means that when we get into Secret Wars, that Sue Storm and that Franklin Richards will be the ones from 828, which I think is a brilliant way to do this plot. It's going to be very simple for the audiences to understand. It is multiversal, but it is less crazy and multiversal than the comic book stuff, which I think is good. But isn't it kind of interesting that even that becomes more clear with the new information? I really think this is what it is, and I think a lot of the leaks that I've been hearing over the last year are starting to make a lot more sense. I still have a lot of theories. I think the Russos are hiding some stuff. I still think there's mystery in this movie, and I'm very excited to make a lot of content about it as we head towards it. It's a year away, but we're also about a month away from the first trailer. Dude, that's going to be crazy. That is really going to blow up on social media. So I'm very excited to break it down, make a lot of content, talk about it on streams and whatnot. But we also have a year of anticipation getting towards Doomsday. And then we'll get into the Secret Wars movie. This is crazy. Anyways, guys, that's the new leaks, the old leaks, why I think it all makes a lot more sense now. Would love to know what you think about this in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.